are going to continue from where we stop. We finished executive and now we're going to judiciary. So judiciary is the last organ of government and also sensitive at that of the executive. When we talk about the judiciary, we talk about the interpretation and application of the law when violated or broken. This part is very sensitive is because this organ of government acts as a real check and balance of government. And as we're looking into judiciary, we're going to see more things like what a bill is. Like I mentioned bill when I was talking about legislature. Then we're going to know the independence of judiciary, how a bill turns into law, and what a bill is. Very, very important. So now as we turn to judiciary, we're going to see their function as those ones, or the organ of government that acts as the interpreter and applicator of the law on the citizen. The first, like I always say, when talking about organ of government, the first function is the meaning of judiciary. They interpret, and I said they also apply. So we can say that they are the applicator of the law. We have dispute adjudication. It's a big word, though we're going to break it down. I've explained the first one, and this is the second one. When we talk about dispute adjudication, has to do with dispute between the legislature and the executive. When they have problems, issues to sort out, they go to the judiciary to sort out their problems. So in that area, we say that is a function of the judiciary. And also, this dispute adjudication doesn't end with the other arm of government. It also has to do with the citizens too. When the citizens have problems, they go to the law court. Before I forget, we're going to know who comprises of the judiciary as I finish the functions. Let's take one more. I've mentioned the first function, which is interpretation of law, and the second one I said dispute adjudication. That's to say that the judiciary help to settle dispute between the organs of government and also citizens. They give rights and liberty to citizens. And number 3, we see that they punish lawbreakers. Before I continue, to make this thing more understandable, the judiciary is made up of members, just as we have in the legislature and executive. And these members are in form of courts, as in not these courts, but with the law courts, the C-O-R-T, these courts. These members in form of courts comprises of, we have the court of the Supreme Court, we have the Appeal Court, we have the High Court, we have Magistrate Court, we have Customary Court, then lastly we have Administrative Courts. Some textbook may put Sharia in place of appeal, but basically these are the courts that we know most, that people use often. So these are the members of the court. So these are number 3 functions: direct people to the courts, which is the member of the judiciary. So when someone breaks the law, violates the law, is taken to the law court for punishment, thereby reserving the rights and liberty of citizens. No one gets to be mistreated in the government. That's why I say that they act as a real check and balance in the government. Number 4, they are also the guardian of the constitution. These members of the judiciary have been trained and enhanced in the qualification of the constitution. In fact, the constitution is their book. That is their mainstay. So everything inside the constitution they interpret so as for citizen rights to be safeguarded. So they are the guardian of the constitution. No law has to be broken. 5. Election petition. They determine election petition. Where an election takes place, probably the winner is not determined, or the other party feels that there's an unfair play, they make election petition, and if they take it to court, the judiciary sees to it that the right person takes the vote, in as much as they will be heard. But normally election petition and real count of vote is determined through the judiciary if there's election petition. 6. They give advice to the president. The judiciary take the constitution very serious. So they act as advisor to the president in making policies that will make the government to flourish, to help the citizen, and to make the country to progress. So they give advice to the president. That aside, we discuss the members of the judiciary, we said their functions, and if you could remember rightly, I said they interpret the law, which is their primary role, interpretation of law. 2, they do dispute adjudication between other organs of government and the citizens. While 3, we have punishment to lawbreakers, where I brought in the members of the judiciary, which is the courts, and I listed them. So those who break the law are brought to book in the law courts. And 4, I said they are the guardian of the constitution. As they interpret the constitution, they also apply it. So if anyone is broken, they see that all citizen rights are brought to them so that they will enjoy it. 5, I said election petition. When the other party sends an unfair play and is brought to court, it is duly looked to. And if it's fair, if the one on the throne is fair, the person is getting a fair judgment. So they see to election petition. Then 5, they give advice to the president. As the guardian of the constitution, they make sure the president does not violate anyone. They make sure the president take the right policies in the country. So these are basically their function. We have other subs, but this is the basis. Now we're going to the problem facing the judiciary. Every organ of government has its own unique and peculiar problem, and the judiciary is not left out. So let's see. What are some of these problems? Problems of the judiciary. One of them is the independence of the judiciary. That is a very sensitive part. The independence of the judiciary. We also have other ones like funding. We are going to dwell more on this number 1. Like I said, we have funding, we have courts congestion, we have personnel, also have their number of courts, that is law courts, the facilities for this judiciary to practice. And we have lastly corruption. Now let's look at it. Problem of judiciary. Independence of the judiciary is a problem on its own. Independence of judiciary has to do with the fact that the judiciary, they are appointed by the executive arm of government, and this leads to favoritism, because for you to get to that position as a judge, it has to be seen by the executive arm of government, thereby making the judiciary to form alliance with the executive. So with that means they always pay allegiance to the executive, bringing unfair judgment when it concerns the executive or legislature. So let's go to number 2, funding. Funding has to do with the money used in financing, caring for the allowances, salaries, and also the courts, the facility in which they use the judiciary. This is a major problem because most of this money are not allocated properly, probably because they are looking at it as insignificant, not important. And this has to do with the number 1, which is independence of judiciary, because the executive arm of government are the one giving them this money. They end up being biased in providing finance for the judiciary arm of government. 3, we have court congestion. There are little facilities for the courts. In a whole state like Delta State with a lot of local government, you find out that maybe 2 or 3 influential courts, maybe the rest are customary, and that is not what they need. So we see that there is court congestion, little facilities, and also there are a lot of personnel that go through it, which is number 4. A lot of graduates come in, come out of the university, some of them unbaked, coming out, leading to the fact that majority of them are not qualified. They just go there and pump into these chambers without knowing what to do. So they have problem of personnel to administer law very well, knowing that they are the guardian of the constitution. Number 5, we have dismissal. We have dismissal of the judiciary. Dismissal of the judiciary pending from independence of the judiciary, because the executive arm of government have the power to impeach, say, or remove the judiciary if they are found wanting. And this sometimes has to do with a problem with independence of the judiciary, whereby they receive an unfavorable judgment and is seen as a time to pay back. Since you have corruption, someone who does not have enough money cannot fund a good lawyer. So they use money in bribing them to make biased judgment. So this is one major problem, both from the citizen and other organ of government, a major problem. That is why those who carry case to the courts, they use financial and even diabolic means to corrupt the judiciary. So it's a very sensitive arm of government, because this has to do with the right and liberty of the citizen. If they are not functioning properly, this problem, if it's really holding tight to the judiciary, we find out that the judiciary will be ineffective, and it has a direct bearing of citizen. As we learn forward, as I talked in the members, which are the courts, if they render a judgment that is biased and unfavorable, it can lead to life of the citizen. Is this not serious? It's very serious, because it involves the lives of people. So let's go through it now. Problem facing the judiciary. We have independence of the judiciary, we have the funding, that is the financing, we have court congestion, little facility for them to practice. We have personnel, unpaid people that come into the line. We have a lot of them, the good, the bad ones. Then 5, we have dismissal of the judiciary because of the grip of the executive arm of government. And since we have corruption from the citizen and also from the arm of government too. So you see, these are the problems facing judiciary.